Hello Patreon patrons, this is Kasanas. This video was paid for by Andre. I will only call him Andre. He's one of my Patreon patrons who has a number of issues with his current project. He has opted for a video rather than a personal conference, so he can review the answers over and over again should he desire. You are more than welcome to watch this video. However, it is a personal video for Andre concerning his personal project. There may be some similar issues between yours and his project, and you're more than welcome to watch it for that reason. But in this video, I will only be discussing the issues that Andre had with his project. Okay, let's get started. Okay, Andre, you've asked me to take a look at 5 issues you have with your current project. The first issue was to do with your jump and your shooting. You want to prevent your character from being able to jump and shoot at the same time. The second issue has to do with the enemy drops and where they are appearing. They're appearing too low currently within your current project. The third issue was concerning the first shot that occurs after your player is running. When your player is running, when they first start to shoot, the first bullet is too low, and you want to make sure that the character's in the proper animation before they shoot. The fourth problem was concerning your ragdoll and the fact that your ragdoll wasn't occurring. And it wasn't that your ragdoll was not occurring, it's that you had some errors in your code that prevented you from reaching the code that you currently had in place. We fixed that as well. And your last issue was with your enemy health bar. Your enemy health bar appeared to be green in the actual design, but when it appeared in the game it was red. And to be honest, I couldn't figure that one out. I have no idea what you actually did with that health bar. But by creating a new health bar, I was able to correct the problem. So that one there, we're just going to simply create a brand new enemy health canvas. Okay, let's take a look at all 5. Okay, so for your first issue, the character jumping and shooting at the same time, we were able to correct it by making sure that your player was grounded before they could actually shoot. So if you open up your player controller script, that's the one that's on your player, down below, if you scroll all the way down, so this is basically what it looks like. If you scroll all the way down to the very bottom, what I did is I added in a new public function called getGrounded. And it's a very simple function. Okay, it says public bool getGrounded with your brackets and your braces. And all I'm doing is returning the state of grounded. Now, if you look at the very top of the script, you will see that we currently have the ability, when we're jumping, to check our grounded state. It is located right here. Okay, it's a private bool grounded false. And whenever our character jumps, we set that value to true. So if our character is not touching the ground, then we're false, and if we are touching the ground, then that value is equal to true. So right here, all we're doing in our player controller script is creating this brand new public function getGrounded and returning the value of grounded, either true or false. Okay. Then in your fire bullet script, okay, which is on all weapons, so any weapon you have, you're going to have your fire bullet script. What we did is if you start at the top and you work your way down, we've added a couple of lines of additional code right here. I actually changed it. I took it out of one location. I have your player controller, my player, and a reference to your animator, my anim, located right here in the top. Okay, right below the class, the first class variables. I just added those 2 variables in. Okay, and we're going to be using those for a couple of different things. Now, if we take a look right down here in the awake function, we actually initialized both of those variables. So right here, your player, and I set the value, my player equals to transform.root.getComponent. You're looking for the player controller script. Okay, and below that, my anim is equal to transform.root.getComponent, and you're looking for the animator. We're not actually going to use the animator for this correction. We are going to use the animator when we're preventing our character from running and shooting at the same time. Okay, so right here, I removed your line player controller. Right here where you defined your player controller, I took it out. All right, I removed this and I moved it up into the awake function right here, and I actually declared it right here. All right, so it's been declared here at the top, and right here is where we actually initialized it. So I've removed this line of code. You can simply delete it. You do not need it any longer. Now, down below, we have our if statement where we're taking a look to see if our player is actually shooting. Input.getAccess raw, etc., etc. This is what you currently have. You have these 2 things, or sorry, these three things. Whether you're firing, if you can shoot because the time has passed, and if you have any bullets left. what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that function, that portion right there, and I'm going to add the line myPlayer.getGrounded, and that's going to return a value of true or false. If we're on the ground, it's true, and if we're not on the ground, it's false. So in this situation, if we're jumping or we're falling, this is going to be false, and we're not going to be able to shoot. Okay, so I've added and myPlayer.getGrounded and then my brackets to reference the public function over here in the player controller. So it's referencing this function right here. Okay, this line here will either return true or false. If it's false, your player will not be able to shoot. If it's true, your player will be able to shoot. All right, so I'm going to file and I'm going to save that. Now let's take a look at the results. And if you look over here, when I jump, I cannot shoot. If I'm on the ground, I can shoot. If I jump, I cannot shoot until after I hit the ground. Okay, so you can no longer jump and shoot. All right, good. Let's take a look at your next problem. The next issue you had was concerning the drops, your enemy drops. And you suggest that your enemy drops are too low. Now, you've got everything set up right, but you did not follow the videos that I had online. It's very, very important that you're following those videos almost exactly if you want, or they should be exact if you want the same results that I've got. Let's take a look at right here at your ammo pickup. Now I'm going to make the quick changes here. If I take a look at your ammo pickup right now, you've got a positional value in your transform here that is not 0. And you want to make sure that's value 0. I'm going to drag this and I'm going to drop it in here. Okay? And I'm going to take my values and I'm going to set this to 0, 0, and 0. All right, and that's going to make it appear right over here at this location. Let's just move this can out of the way for now so we're not seeing it. So there is currently that is your current location of your, let's grab this again, sorry. That is the current location of your ammo pickup. Now, what you want to do in your ammo pickup is you want to make sure the next layer down, this pixel ammo right here, is at the appropriate location. In yours, this has already been corrected actually. In yours, this was at 0. So when you brought this in, the entire thing was appearing at the ground. What you want to do is make sure that your pixel ammo, this section right here, is the one that you've changed. Now you've got a little rotation, that kind of stuff in there, so you want to make sure that your Y value is high enough, like this, let's say, to ensure that the pixel ammo is going to occur in the proper location. If I hit play right now, we can see that this thing is rotating in the proper location and it is now high enough. All right, and let me just stop this for now. And make sure that once you've made that correction, once you've put this in the area you want it, so you've zeroed out this entire thing, you've zeroed out the transform of the top layer, and you have changed the Y value of your pixel ammo, once that entire thing is done, you can click this, you can say apply right here, all right, and that's going to automatically update your prefab. Once you've done that, your prefab is correct, and you can now take this and you can delete it. All right, once you delete it, you'll no longer need it anymore. Don't worry, it's all located here in your ammo pickup. You can see now in my prefab, the values are 0. All of my position values, the top layer is 0, and in the bottom layer, my actual transform is currently set to 27.5, which is what I set it to originally. Now, every time I drag this in and I put it down somewhere, let's zero this out. Let's just zero out the Y so we can see. We'll be able to see that our ammo pickup is now located at 27.5. Okay, and that's what you're going to want to do to make sure that the ammo pickup is occurring in the proper location. Okay, let's take a look at your next issue. Okay, so your next issue was concerning your ability to be able to shoot and only be able to shoot when your character was in the proper shooting animation. And that was pretty easy to correct as well. First of all, I made a couple of changes that were kind of unnecessary, but I'll take a look at them anyway. If we take a look at your player and we take a look at the actual animator itself, I simplified this a great deal. You have, and I didn't even go through and simplify it enough. You have a lot of things in here that you really didn't need. And it's very important. I won't go into detail in this section here because it's really unnecessary. But it's really important that you understand why we've got everything in place as far as your states are concerned. For example, you had a bunch of stuff in here for sneaking. And your character can't actually sneak. You can either idle, run, or shoot. That's your 3 states. You don't have any other states at all other than your state over here, your jumping state. But ignoring our jumping state entirely, if we just take a look at the 3 you have, you don't need a sneaking or anything else. All those extra variables are really unnecessary. You don't need a lot of these things. You don't need sneaking, for example. So right now, I've changed this a fair amount. You can go from running to shooting. This is even unnecessary, but you can leave it if you want to. And the only reason you'd ever go there is if your shooting is greater than 0.1. The same thing with returning from running to idle. The only time you want to return from running to idle is if your speed is less than 0.1. All right, and the same thing here. You're only going to want to go up to shooting if your speed and your shooting is less than a certain amount. That's the only reason you'll ever want to go up here. Okay, and I can even get rid of speed. To be honest, this entire thing can be far simplified. You want to make sure that you're only using the variables that are required in here. So you want to make sure you think through the reason why you're adding things. I know that you added the things the same as mine, but I had many more states. I have a sneaking state, I have a physical attack state, I have a bunch of different states that you don't actually have in your inside of your game. All right, so make sure you go through and you understand exactly why you're traveling from location to location. Okay, so make sure you understand this first. Now, I'm not going to go through these any more thoroughly than that, because really and truly it's up to you to go through and correct these. This is not having any real effect on your game. Everything is working fine, but you really want to simplify it. Okay, so let's take a look at what I did do. If I take a look at the code, now inside of your fire bullet script, and this is going to affect every weapon just like we did before, as I mentioned before, we actually made right here, we've added this additional line of code, and you're looking at your animator. So basically we're going to go in and take a look at what animation state your animator is in. Okay, so just like I said before, you have this additional line of code where you've declared your animator here. You've gone through and you've initialized your animator to its particular location. My anim equals transform.root.getComponentAnimator. And once you've done that, we're going to go down here and back into our line where we're looking at our shooting code. If input.getAxis, all of this stuff here is exactly the same. So right up here, up to myPlayer.getGrounded, which is what we just added. I'm going to remove this for now so you can see. What I did add is an additional line of code right here, a little bit more code. MyAnim.getCurrentAnimatorStateInfo 0, and I'm looking at the name shoot. And if shooting is active, I will get a value of true. And if shooting is not active, I will get a value of false. Okay? If we go back here and we take a look at your, if we go over here and we take a look at the state we're looking at this state right here. And it is in your shooting state that you want your bullet to leave your gun. Okay? You don't want it to leave before you're in the shooting state. So, by adding this line of code, if we are in the shooting state, we're going to get a value of true. And if all of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things are true, then we're actually going to make a bullet. But if any one of these is false, and that's because of this and symbol, this ampersand, if any one of these is false, then we're not going to be able to shoot. So if we're not in the shooting state, in our shooting animation state, we're not going to actually create a bullet. That's what the rest of this line, that's what the rest of this code does. We go in, we create a bullet, we create our next code, etc., etc. Okay, so let's take a look. I'll show this again like this. That's what we added right there. And I'm going to go over here. And, let me save that code. So first of all, file save. And let's take a look at the results. Okay, so let's take a look at that right now. Let's see what the results of that code are. Let me hit play. There's our character. And when I'm running now, you can see that I still take a moment to get into position. But if I'm running... Oh, I killed myself. Let's try that again. All right. I'll only run in one direction. If I'm running, I am no longer getting the shot that occurs down low. I'm only getting the shot that occurs when the player is in the fully aimed position. All right, and that's what you were looking for. Okay, let's take a look at your next issue. Okay, your next issue had to do with your enemy health bar. And when I took a look, this is a copy right here of your enemy health canvas. This is a copy right here of your enemy health canvas that you have in your prefab. And you can see that it's showing as red here. And the reason it's showing as red, let me show you what happens. The reason why it's showing as red is for some reason the background, let's open this up so we can see, this I actually reversed these. This background was up higher. I was trying to fix it. Your background right here is on top of your fill area. And it's always appearing on top, and I'm not sure why. Usually that is a problem with the layer that this object is on. And you can't actually set the render layer for this particular object. If we take a look at your fill area and change it from this UI sprite, let's just change its value to none. Let's go up here. You're going to see the green is actually appearing in the background. And if I move this health slider around, you can see that I'm making that green line disappear. So for some reason, your fill area is in the background. Now, I tried going in and creating a new slider in the same canvas. All right, and I created it right here. And once again, we can see that my green line is behind the fill area, and I have no idea why. All right, I have no idea why that's happened. It's something strange. I don't know. There's a value that I don't know about. Something's been clicked somewhere that I don't know about. I'm not sure what it is. So what I did is I created a brand new canvas right here. Let me see if I can find this right here. I've created this brand new enemy health canvas, and in doing so, everything here works fine. I simply added a slider, and the slider itself works fine now. You can see. Let me just change the background color so you can see it. Background. Let's change it to red. Alright, you can see that this slider is working perfectly fine. So in order to create this new slider, just build a new one. Delete your old prefab, create a brand new canvas with the new slider on it, and put it onto your prefab of your zombie. Okay? I have no idea how this happened. I'm really sorry. I searched and searched and searched, and I could not find out. I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find a reason why this was happening. Alright, so my recommendation for your enemy health canvas is to create a brand new one and then rebuild and put it in location on your actual enemies. Okay, let's take a look at your next issue. So your last issue had to do with your actual enemy, with the actual enemy not working properly. And let me just turn off maximize on play here. If I hit play, we can see that the ragdoll itself works perfectly fine. Your ragdoll falls down, it's dead. If we take a look at your character though, before when you played your game, whenever your character was running, your character wouldn't die. All right, whenever you shot it, it wouldn't die, and that's because you had a number of things. Now, once again, that issue had to do with the fact that you followed my code without actually looking at your own setup. Your characters are built entirely different than mine. You have to make sure that the code that you write matches the assets you've built. So if we take a look, let's go actually back here for a second and take a look at your actual character. Your ragdoll zombie has the following characteristics. It's a ragdoll zombie at the top, then it has this thing called SA character, and then underneath that is something called root, and then underneath that is a very large number, and these here are kind of pointless. You do not need all these. I don't know why they're here. I would delete them all unless you've got something particular that you want, some reason why you'd want them here. But in this particular thing, you are actually going through and you're looking for this zombie hobo in your code. So that's how your actual ragdoll is set up. And your actual enemy, let's go over here and click on your enemy. Your actual enemy, your zombie, is set up similarly, where it's set up as zombie, then this SA character, and then this root down here, and then all the stuff underneath it. Did I have that set up right? Let me see. Yes, so they're both similar setup where you've got this ragdoll zombie or the zombie, this SA character, and then everything underneath that. Okay, that's fine, but your code did not reflect that exact same thing. If we take a look at your enemy health, let's see where I made the changes here. If we take a look at your enemy health, did I make changes in this? No, I didn't. I only made changes, in your zombie controller. So your enemy health is working fine. It goes through and it finds the appropriate thing. It comes down here. It's looking to find your ragdoll death. And this is where your problem was. It couldn't find it had a problem within the ragdoll death. Now the ragdoll death is located in your zombie controller. So if you take a look at your zombie controller, there's a number of things that had to be changed in here to make this thing work properly. And I was able to do so. So first of all, let's scroll down here to where we started having the problems. We started having the problems down here in your ragdoll death. Now, your ragdoll, you're instantiating your ragdoll, which is perfectly fine. Your ragdoll is being instantiated properly here. But you were running into a problem right here with these two lines of code, where it was going in and it was trying to find a transform that was called the master. And you don't actually have a master transform in your game. You have an SA underscore character. Okay, so I changed the line of code. I removed these ones here where it said master, and I replaced it with an equivalent SA character for both the ragdoll master and the zombie master. So in both these situations, instead of looking for master, you should be looking for the name that your actual asset has, which is SA character. Okay, that was the first change I made. Now, after that, all of the stuff here should work fine. It should go through and find all the appropriate locations on your actual guy and then match them. Now, the next problem you had is down here. You were going through and you were looking for your zombie hobo, your SA zombie hobo. And again, that's perfectly fine to look for that, but you have to look for it in the right location. Because your asset is designed incredibly different than mine, you have to make sure that you're looking in the proper location. So instead of looking at before you were looking at the transform, you were actually looking at the very root of your zombie for this SA zombie hobo. And let's go back here and take a look. If we take a look at your ragdoll, was it ragdoll? Yeah, your ragdoll. You were looking at no, it wasn't your root. It was this guy right here. It was, sorry, the zombie. If you take a look at your zombie itself is not designed in the same way. Your zombie is designed with this zombie, but above that is this underscore enemies envelope. And your zombie's inside of that. So what you were doing is you were going to the top layer, you were going to this underscore enemies, and you were looking for, underneath that, you were looking for SA character. Now, this line of code right here, this find only looks one layer below. So you're not actually searching everything. You're just searching one layer below, and you are never ever finding this SA zombie hobo. So what I did instead is I made sure that you were looking in the proper location. Okay, you were looking from the zombie master, and you were looking underneath the zombie master for your SA hobo, and you were looking underneath your ragdoll master for your SA zombie hobo. Once that was done, it was able to set up the renderer properly, and we're getting everything working. All right, let's take a look at the results of this code. Okay, so let's take a look at the results of the code changes I made. If I hit play, go over, there's our guy. Let's sneak up on him, shoot him in the back. Bang, there he is, dead. There is our ragdoll, and there is our bullets that we can go and pick up now. Alright, so that is all 5 of your issues corrected. I hope that helps you out. I hope you found exactly what you're looking for here. And let me know if you have any other problems. Alright, thank you very much for being a patron. I really like the way your game is looking. I think it's turning out really, really well. Keep up the good work, and I'm sure you're going to have something really awesome. Alright. Oh, I did. Alright, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that helped you out. Let me know. Talk to you very soon.